Hello and welcome to the CHE social media webinar. We just want to verify that you guys can hear us. So if you can hear us, please put something in the chat. You can just say here or we hear you. Awesome. Hi, Ada. All right. So now that we can hear you guys, well, you can hear us. We do hope that you are not able to hear the tremendous storm that's going on in Baton Rouge right now. It's raining really hard, so we do apologize if you hear any of that. All right, so we want to welcome you to, again, the CHE social media webinar. We have some wonderful things in store that's going to talk about social media and some new tools and resources for you guys. We are from the ILI team, headed by Savitra M. Wilson, the CEO of Solid Ground Innovations. And don't forget to join the conversation. So if you have any comments that you would like to put out in the social media, please use the hashtag CHE webinars. You might help someone else who is not a part of the team. All right, so here's an outline. Before we begin, this is Ebony Smith, the web and graphics designer at Solid Ground Innovations, and I have here with me today DeJuan Wagner, who is our marketing coordinator, who will be talking about social media.
Hi, everyone.
So I'll start. So for our outline, it's a two-part presentation today. So part one is going to focus on the member tools updates. So we have some new templates for you guys to use and also a new resource that we want to talk to you about called Canva. So don't worry about it now. We'll talk about it later. Part two is going to be social media. So we'll talk about the social media strategy, how to audit your existing social media presence, setting strategic goals, developing a content strategy, measuring progress, and finally evaluating success. I know that sounds like a lot, but don't worry, we have it covered and we're going to explain everything to you. So this is just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded, as you can see up here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to type into the taskbar and send any questions that you have throughout the webinar. You don't have to wait until the end. And if possible, we'll definitely try to answer it for you right then and there. The resources that I spoke about will be the brand guidelines, which we talked about in the last webinar, but we're going to have a handy-dandy brochure format that you can actually print off and keep on your desk, in your briefcase, wherever, in case you have a question or you want to see, man, does this fit within the brand guidelines? You'll always have that with you. And it's not a long document at all. We have toolkit number 2, which I'll be speaking about in a minute. And we have social media templates that will go along with what DeJuan is going to talk about later. These resources will be available to you after our rebroadcast on Thursday. All right, so part 1, communications tools, event toolkit, and Canva. So the addition to our toolkit is going to focus mainly around events. So we've provided to you, it looks a little weird here, but we've provided to you event flyers that are fillable PDFs. And so they'll all look the same with a general health equity message. And here you can put your event name, your team name, and your date and location. And because it'll be a fillable PDF, all you do is type directly into it. This is a great option for those who do not have access to design software or designers, and for those who just need something quick to share with the public. So if you found out you have an event that you're going to today and you really don't have time to design something full or request anybody to design it, this is a great option for that. In addition to that, we have created an event banner template, which is the same idea. It'll be a PDF, and you'll be able to type directly in to the event and the date and location. And once again, this is just really good for different events. You can reuse the same file and save it as a different PDF, and you'll always have a general banner that can be used, general flyers, and they'll always fit within the brand guidelines. And all of these templates have been created in standard print sizes so that most printers should be able to accommodate you. So the banner is a standard size banner. The flyers are letter size, so you can even print those yourself if you want. And the posters will be 11 by 17, which is also one that you can print yourself if you have the right type of copier. Another thing to mention, the National Collaborative is providing technical assistance to all the teams to create a banner with the new team identity for marketing at larger events. Now, this is different from an event banner. This will be your general banner, just to identify your team that can be used at any event. Just an example here, this was used at a $15 minimum wage rally in Illinois outside the McDonald's Corporation shareholder meeting. And so it's really good. They have their name in it as well as their social media. So just like it says here, these banners are effective as a marketing tool, and it can be used to promote a team's social media presence. And so it's good to get good traction for being at the events. People know who you are, and they also know where to find you after that event. Now, here's the fun part. This is a design resource tool called Canva.com. We've been using this tool in our office to help with the graphic design efforts. So even though I'm the web and graphics designer, if one of my teammates needs something a little bit more urgent, or if they feel like they can handle it themselves, they use what's called Canva.com. So it's just an online graphic design platform. It offers free access to a wide assortment of design tools and options, as well as premium options for paying customers. It's also a great resource to design digital and print items without design software. So like I mentioned earlier, if you wanted something a little bit more customized for your banner or for your flyers, Canva is a great tool to do that without all the hassle of downloading software or, trying to learn the software. Here's an example. So Canva provides pre-made templates for flyers, banners, social media graphics, invitations, and pretty much anything that you're looking for. So this is just an example here of a social media graphic. I clicked on social media graphic, and it shows me all of these different templates. Now, I can use this template as is if I chose to. I could download it and upload it just like that. There's no other permissions needed to do it. Or you can actually edit this content, add your quote, add whatever you want here. You can change the colors, you can change the fonts, and it's good to have a base to work on, and then you can just make changes to it. And then you're also allowed to save whatever you do and just update it for a later date. So that's a really good resource for social media graphics that you want to look consistent, but you don't want to redo it every single time. It also helps with non-designers create beautiful graphics easily. It's just drag and drop, so I would simply pull this and drag it on here, and that would be all that we need to do. Once again, I recommend this option if you'd like to create your own event materials without a designer. Of course, if you can go through a designer and that's easier for you, you can definitely go that route, or you can go the route of using the pre-made templates. This is kind of a happy medium of that, where you can still design your own templates, design your own presentations, and, not spend an arm and a leg on the software and not have to depend on someone else to create it for you. So definitely, if you have a chance, check out Canva.com, and we'll also provide this resource in your member resources area. And now I'm going to pass it over to DeJuan, who's going to talk to us about social media.
Hi, everyone. So social media is an assortment of online communications that helps you target people as well as get your message out to a lot of people at one time. So we want to talk about developing a social media strategy. And a social media strategy is just a strategic plan that helps your organization incorporate social media into their marketing and their outreach efforts. Before we start developing the actual strategy, we'll first have to conduct a social media audit. And so this is just an assessment of what social medias you're currently using. So if you look below at the chart, we have it listed out with the social media networks that you guys probably use now. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if you go across the chart, it asks you to list out your username, the link to that social media platform, how many people are following or how many people have liked your page, the average amount of times that you're posting a week, the last date of your post, and what a guesstimate of how people are engaging with your social media. And this just helps give you a good idea of where your strengths and your weaknesses are based on the platform.
And I'll just interject here to say, if you don't have any of this, don't worry. This is just good information to have as you start to plan out how you're going to start your social media and where you're going to start your social media. So this information will definitely come in handy when you start it. So if you don't have it now, don't feel overwhelmed. Just listen, and we'll definitely try our best to explain. And if you have any questions, please post them in the chat.
So our next slide gives you an example of an audit. So we have a sample brand where we look at their Facebook and their Twitter. So their strengths on Facebook are they're active every day and they're posting practical content that their followers are engaged with. But one of their weaknesses is they're slow to respond to their negative comments. So they're not getting responses to those listeners or followers that aren't so interested in the content. They're not getting that message back out to them. Twitter, they're quick to respond to their questions, but they don't post relatable content. So the content isn't totally pertinent to what their audience wants to see from them. So these are just ways to garner information on, is my content strong? What can I improve about it? And what else can I add? So then we talk about brand voice, and this is very important to your organization. It tells your audience what your personality is. So in describing SGI, our character is inspiring, our tone is humble, the language we use is very simple and savvy, and the purpose of our brand is to engage, to educate, inform, and to incite change within our community. So as you can see, we've used a number of words in our purpose to describe us. And that's totally fine to use more than one in each category, but they all have to work together. Does anyone have any questions about their brand voice and how that works? You guys can go ahead and respond within the taskbar, or you can...
If there's anyone on the line who is just on the phone with us and not in the chat, you can unmute yourself with the number 5. Just click 5, and you can ask your question. Unmute yourself with 6. Yeah, so if you have a question and you are on the phone only and unable to talk in the chat, please just hit 6 to unmute yourself, and we will definitely answer your question. And just as while we're waiting to see if anyone has questions, one of the ways we can use the brand voice to determine how the type of content. So as SGI, we consider ourselves to be inspiring and innovative. So one way we took that was on Wednesdays, we call it Winnovator Wednesday. And we'll post about the different innovators throughout history in our community. And that's one of our posting topics that we use that takes care of one of the days out of our week. And it's interesting, and it's just based on who we are. Okay, so no questions as of yet, so DeJuan will keep going.
So the next platform we have a message
of local versus regional. All right, so we have a question from New Mexico. All right, it says, in case of followers, please discuss the pros and cons of local versus regional followers. Let's see, that's a good question.
So I'm going to answer, and please tell me if I'm off with answering your question. So the pros and cons of local, the pros of having local followers is that you're able to engage them with content that's going on and relevant to where they are right now. So you're able to say, hey, here's a policy, or here's an event that we want you guys to go out to, and that incites some type of interest and urgency in them participating. When you have regional followers, you're more so engaging them on what you guys are doing and then what's going on and where you guys are participating. So there are no cons unless you need them to act immediately. If you need regional followers to act, then you have to come up with some kind of strategic plan to make sure that they're coming out or they're participating in the manner you want, only because they're so far from you. Does that answer your question?
Okay. And I'll say for regional followers, just from experience, even though they're not local, they can't do like what DeJuan said and go into anywhere physically or do anything physically necessarily. But if you have a petition that you want them to sign, or if you want them to call a legislative or anything like that, regional followers are good for that, because if they want to participate, there are ways like that they can participate even though they're not local. So that was a great question from New Mexico. Are there any more questions before we move on? All right, the one's going to keep going.
So this slide, we asked what social media platforms should you use. So this allows you this shows you how you can target your users based on their interests. So we have listed out here those platforms that we talked about in the beginning: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Facebook is great for targeting people by their interest or demographic. Facebook does a great job of gathering this data when you set up your account, so they want to know what pages do you like, what brands are you interested in, and how old are you, and then where do you work. Twitter is great for reaching specific networks with really quick messages. So if you have a brand or a network that you're interested in connecting with or collaborating with, this is a great tool to shoot them a quick message about what you guys need them to get involved with. Instagram, like Facebook, is a great platform for visually appealing content. So videos or quick GIFs that you guys can make on other tools and other apps on your phone or on the computer. This is a great place for it to showcase that gallery or any footage you have going on with an event. And LinkedIn, this allows for you to get in touch with people by their career or industry. So if you're looking for certain people to get involved on policy, or you're even looking for policymakers, this is a platform where they list out that is their title or the industry that they're in.
Okay. And just another note on the different types of social media. They also kind of tell you the type of content that you can use. So if you find that you're long-winded or you like to write out a longer message, Facebook is definitely the venue for that. It allows you to go as long as you really would like to go and include links. Twitter, on the other hand, is the total opposite. You only have 160 characters to say whatever you're going to say, but you can post as frequently as you would like, and it's not weird. And so on Facebook, posting back-to-back may be weird. On Twitter, it's not. So if you have short messages that you'd like to get out quickly, then Twitter is definitely the way to go. Like DeJuan said, Instagram is great if you have all of these pictures that you've taken from different events, different things going on, and you're trying to get that information out. Instagram is definitely great if you have just a stockpile of photos and videos. And LinkedIn is good if you are good at, I guess I'd say, keeping it business and policy oriented. Definitely not the place. Yeah, it's better for professional. So if you have kind of personal opinions based on policy, LinkedIn definitely isn't the place for that, and it's kind of frowned upon. So if you have more personal posts that are related to policy, Facebook is definitely better for that.
So here we're going to take a poll. So what social media platform does your team use the most currently?
So that would be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or none or not mentioned. So if it's none, please type number 4, and if it's not mentioned, please type what it is that you are using the most if it's not listed. All right, so we see Melissa is 1 and 2. All right, Ada is 2, Twitter. Amanda is Twitter, being rebranded. Awesome. Yes, make sure that your social media does reflect the rebrand like we talked about in the last webinar. All right, because I see we have 12 other people online, and I see a few responses, so please don't be shy. Because this definitely helps us knowing what social media platforms you use the most. It helps with being able to help with the different templates, content. Okay, and once again, if you're on the phone line and you're not able to chat, please unmute yourself with 6, and you can tell us what social media platform you use the most. All right, we're going to keep it moving. So we see kind of what we figured. Most people use Facebook and Twitter.
So now we get into developing a content strategy. So your content strategy, it delves a little deeper into the creation, the publication, and governance of useful and usable content that focuses on how you can engage your audience in order to drive behavior. So the types of content that you can post to drive this behavior or to get more engagement from your audience is by posting policies, posting more articles or blogs or resources related to your mission or goal of that platform, posting about events that you'd like people to come out and attend, internal successes. This is very important to showing the type of people that are in your organization, and it helps with the personality, and testimonials can also go in this topic. Also, calls to action. So like Ebony talked about earlier, this is a place for you to get people to sign this petition or even to go out and vote on something. And then we have a suggestion of your post frequency on all of your platforms. It should be, except for Twitter, it should be no more than 1 to 2 times per day. On Twitter, like Ebony stated, you guys can post more frequently there within a given day because it's expected for people to have multiple conversations because you're limited to how much you can type. So here we want to set strategic goals. All goals need to be smart and specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So we want to have specific goals related to what exactly do we want to achieve, what response are we trying to solicit, or how do we want to raise awareness, or what we want to raise awareness of. Measurable, so how do we know we've achieved that? So based on how many followers we've gained in a given week, how many comments or how many likes we'd like to have. Attainable, have you given yourself a pretty good timeline of achieving this? One mistake we see a lot is people want to have 1,000 likes in 1 week. And sometimes that's not an attainable goal just based on whatever information you're putting out in order to get those followers. And the content has to be relevant to whatever your viewers are interested in knowing or whatever you need them to know in order to elicit that response, and time-bound. So what's your timeline for achieving this, and is it actually attainable? So here we have a sample of a content strategy. So right there where it says, what do you want your audience or the public to know about your organization, there you can list out what are your 3 goals. So what do you want to raise awareness about? What event do you guys want them to come to? Or what other resources would you like them to get involved with? And here on the template, we'll show you on the next slide how you can fill that out. So we have a sample here of how your daily post can look. So on all of your content on Monday, you guys can talk about a new policy. On Tuesdays, we can talk about blog posts, Wednesdays, events, Thursdays, call to action, Friday, your internal successes, and Saturday, you can take a break. These are just suggestions of how your posting topics can lay out across the week. You guys are free to switch it up or even come up with your own topics that are relevant to your team's mission.
And definitely one thing to note is that the goal is not to post manually all the time. Like say, okay, I'm going to Facebook and post, and go to Twitter and post, and go to Instagram and post. What people are doing now is using software that will allow you to push a message out on Facebook, and it'll automatically post to Twitter. It'll automatically post to Instagram at the same time. And so if you feel like this is a little overwhelming, definitely realize you don't have to do this manually every time. And the blog post works the same. So the goal there is to post it on your website, your blog post, and then just post a link on Instagram with the photo. Post a link to Twitter. Post a link and maybe a snippet of the blog on Facebook. So definitely don't let it overwhelm you. And even though we have something in all of these days, and we put the break on Saturday, you're welcome to put your breaks wherever you feel like you need them. So if you don't feel like Monday is a good day to post about policy, then definitely feel free to put a break there. But yeah, this is just a sample.
So then the next piece to posting is to measure your progress or your success. And when we measure, we look for our KPIs. So these are key performance indicators that demonstrate how effectively your organization is achieving those objectives or even using that social media platform. So there are two ways that we consider our KPIs. We have a question.
How do I take the phone off mute? That's going to be hit the 6. You should be able to do it with the 6. In fact, let's double check. Star 6. There we go. It's not working. Did you try star 6? Oh, no. Okay. Maybe I can. Let me see if I can unmute you. Unmute all. Alrighty. I'm going to unmute everyone, so please take care of your background noise.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing star 6.
Okay. Try it again, Celeste. Star 6.
Okay, good. Now it's saying that I'm unmuted. I think you had to unmute everybody to allow that.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Wonderful.
Cool. Okay, beautiful. So I have can you go back to the slide before this one?
Yes.
Great. So on the Wednesday events, I don't remember, well, I have two questions. This is the first one. I'm not sure if you said what the events are. What did you say would be an example of an event?
So an event would be like in the beginning slide where we showed the banner with the people at the wage rally at McDonald's. So that's something where you can show that you've had people out there, they're holding up your banner, or even an event where you guys take a day to pass out flyers. You can consider anything really as an event. If you're there and it's pertinent to the mission or the vision of what you want people to know about your organization, it's an event.
And definitely these content calendars will be relative to your organization. And so I know in New Orleans, I think they said they didn't really do like motivational posts or anything. They were more like policy. And so if your organization doesn't really do events, then you would just replace events with something else that you do. So if you choose to do a motivational posting, you can do that. If you choose pretty much anything that is relative to your organization, things that you want people to go and do, then you just replace it with that. So if you don't do blogs, then no problem. Just replace it with something else that you do.
Yes, okay, great. So the event isn't necessarily an online thing. It could be something, an actual physical event, and maybe you might be posting about it online.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The best way to use your social media is to make it. Go ahead. Which step?
No, sorry.
The best way to use your social media is to make it more personal. So anywhere where you can show someone's face at an event that's a representative of your team, that's perfect for social media. The whole purpose is to show pictures or to raise awareness through some kind of visual content that has to do with your organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does. So another quick question I had is about, sure. So being someone who's I'm not a huge Twitter user, I don't understand the difference between, or I don't understand the liking. When you like something, like who sees that, and what's the value of that? Is it like Facebook where it just shows people are paying attention and that they, that shows popularity, I guess?
Yes. So it works the same. It's really a boosting tool. Like it's kind of that my friend did it, so like I liked it. Kind of, yeah. It's just an engagement where you can garner if that post was liked by many or successful. But the best way to get the message out is when people retweet or share it in some manner. But the likes are important too. It just shows that people engage with your content.
Okay, cool. That's what I wanted to know. I figured that we would prefer if they retweeted, but I just wondered how valuable the likes are. Okay.
Yes, we definitely value all indicators of success. So that's definitely one. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to mute everybody.
All attendees are muted.
All right. So we're going to move on back to measuring progress.
So when we measure our progress, there are two types of measurements. Our quantitative data, which is the numerical figures or the growth and decline. So like we talked about, those likes and those shares, we can see readily by the number of times people like or share something whether our content is engaging or not. Our qualitative data looks into what our consumers actually said about that content. So are we getting negative or positive comments? And so that gives you some kind of insight into maybe we need to rephrase the information, or we need to definitely post more content just like this because this is what our audience really likes. And so there are two determining factors of our KPI. Our distribution, which includes our followers, our fans, the reach, and the number of mentions. And then our interactions, which that tells if people are sharing, retweeting, if they like the content, and if they're leaving reviews about our organization.
And I'd like to give a bit of information, especially for those who have not created their social media but plan to. Things like followers, fans, reach, and number of mentions, you actually don't have to necessarily look for that information manually. If you set up your pages correctly, especially on Facebook, as a business page, Facebook actually will give you different indicators of success. They'll tell you this post is doing 95% better than your last post, or several people have retweeted this. They'll tell you, well, not retweeted, but they'll tell you how many people have shared it. But you definitely have to set up all of your pages as business pages or organization pages, I should say. When you set it up on a personal page, and I hope you guys know what I mean when I say that, but like if you get on Facebook and you set it up like a person, but it's for an organization, it makes it a little bit less professional and more difficult to get these indicators of success. Because without that, you'll have to go and look for yourself how many followers, how many fans, how many people have mentioned us, which it isn't impossible, but it's just definitely more difficult. So if you haven't created your social media, or if you're interested in switching, please research how to switch to a business or fan page.
And so, guys, that's the end of our presentation, but please feel free to ask any questions, questions specific to the PowerPoint or even specific to what social media you guys are using or looking to use. We're happy to answer any questions.
And, yes, if anybody would, I'm going to unmute everyone again. which means you just need to hit *6 to.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
So if you have a question, definitely press *6. And this is if you have questions about Canva, any questions about if you're having any specific problems with your social media and you have questions about how to solve those, we'll try to help you with that. For those of you who have multiple pages and you're trying to figure out how to consolidate those, Facebook has an option for that as well, where you can go and merge your 2 pages together without losing the likes that you have. So that's another option. So does anybody have any questions on anything? And just a reminder, there will be templates associated with everything you saw with social media that you can fill out yourself, and it actually goes a little bit more in-depth. So it'll simply be fill in the blank, and it'll help you do the things that you need to do to set up your goals. Let's see. Would you go back to your first 2 slides or 3 so I can see them? Sure. Let's see. And for those who are planning to get off the call while I go back, please remember we do have another webinar scheduled for July 28th. And the rebroadcast of this one is scheduled for Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. So this is just our outline. And this was just letting you know the different toolkits that we have. The dynamics are very distinct in a rural, semi-rural versus. And I'm reading a question from Jorge in New Mexico. The local. Oh, really? Okay. So, Jorge, would you like to, do you have a personal experience that you would like to talk about, that you would like to paste into the chat? Like, do you find that, what do you find as far as the local popularity to certain social media? If you don't mind sharing with us. Because more Facebook. Okay, so more Facebook than Twitter. So you're in a rural area, correct?
And I'll jump in here. You guys, based on the age demographic of who you guys are looking to reach, different platforms, like Jorge is explaining to us, relate to different age groups. Facebook is more of your maybe 30-plus audience. Instagram is for your younger 35 and under. LinkedIn is for any professional. All professionals are on LinkedIn now. But Twitter it's different. You can get any age range on Twitter, but mostly organizations are on there to get out specific quick messages. You'll see a lot of times the news channels use it very well because they're getting out really quick updates that are happening within the community. And so that's kind of how you have to think about using that platform. So, yes, that was a great point, Jorge, that different platforms are specific to different areas and even age ranges. So just be mindful of that.
Because I would say here in Baton Rouge, I wouldn't say that it's segmented on any geographic area, not really. We see it definitely more with age than we do with geographics. Now, like I said, Jorge, if you have another comment that you would like to post as far as your personal experience with, if you're in a rural area and you see that those users only like Facebook more than Twitter, that may be in direct relation to age, depending on the ages that live in the rural versus the ages that live in the urban area. So that is something to think about. Back to Celeste. This is some of our updated templates that we have been created. The graphic here is a little bit distorted, but it's a fillable event flyer and also event banner where you can simply type in the name and the date, and you can continue to use this file as often as you like, and it's always available to you for any event that you have. And it's a general design, so you can use it for whatever is needed. The CHE banner project, please, you guys make sure to look out for that because they will be providing technical assistance so that you can have a banner with your team-specific information that can push social media. So make sure that you work to put your social media on it. And Celeste, finally, this was just, I don't know if you came in for Canva or not. It's just a design tool that if you want to do anything more creative or more customized than the templates, and you don't have design software or a designer that can take care of it for you, you can definitely use Canva.com. It's an online graphic platform that is drag and drop, very simple to use, and as you'll see here, it comes with templates for pretty much everything. Flyers, banners, social media graphics, invitations, anything, and you can just click on it and edit it, or you can start from scratch. And you can download the PDF or what is called a PNG, which is just a digital file that you can upload to Facebook or websites. And it is free of charge. The only charge that comes in is if you choose a template that has a stock photo in it, and you want to keep it, they charge $1, which most stock sites charge way more than $1. So it's probably a good investment. So does anybody have any other questions for the re-airing? Sure. Let me go back this way. So if you'd like to re-watch the webinar, it will be rebroadcast on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so it will just be us replaying this video here, and one of us will be in the chat to answer any other questions. And if you have any personalized questions, we'll be in the chat. But the information will be the same. And also I'm going to go back to the end so that you can see. Our upcoming webinar will be July 26th, 2016, Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the rebroadcast will be Thursday, July 28th, 2016 at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, we are presenting from Solid Ground Innovations. Our CEO is Savitra M. Wilson. And we also worked with Gita. And if you haven't already, please complete the team communication survey as soon as possible. This survey is actually helping us to determine what resources are needed to help you guys with social media and with the rebrand and with any other communications that your team is working on. It's going to help us to learn more about the technical assistance that's needed. So please, if you haven't done that, I'm sure Gita will send out more information about it if you still need that. And once again, we just want to thank everyone for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys. We enjoyed y'all and the questions.
Absolutely. And what I'll do, I'll post my email in the chat as well as Dewan's. So if you have any questions that you weren't comfortable posting in the chat and that you would like us to answer directly, we have no problem doing that. So mine is Ebony at SGI Cares. And I'm definitely the one to contact if you have questions about Canva or any of the templates once you look at them Friday. If you have any questions or issues using them, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will do my best to help you with that. And if you have any social media-related questions, you can email Dewan at sgicares.com. She is the social media queen, and she can help you. If you're having issues setting up pages, or you don't know how to set up a business page, or you don't know how to go about using the templates for the strategies, please feel free to reach out to her. So if there are no other questions, then we will conclude until next time. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you. Please, once again, feel free to contact us. Have a great day.